G'day everybody, it's Master Yoda here and hope you guys are all doing well. The title of today's video is a continuation of PUA, Why It Doesn't Work, Part 4, the Men Are More Visual Than Women myth. Probably one of the most ridiculous teachings that the PUA scammers put out there is that it's us men that are more concerned with looks rather than women. The PUAs falsely claim that women you need to stimulate a woman's emotions. And whilst they are correct in the sense that women tend to be more emotional than men, at the same time too, women are just as visual as what men are. In fact, they're more visual, way more visual. Yes, us men, we can be visual as well. Yes, we obviously rate a woman's beauty. No one's denying that. And some men can be even more visual than what some women can be. But overall, when you look at what goes on in the real world of dating, it's actually women who are more visual than men by a country mile, and for good reason, because when a woman sees a particular man, she's saying to herself, if by the off chance I have offspring or children with a particular man, I want to pass on the best genetics so I can have beautiful babies so they can survive. That's obviously not going to happen with an unattractive man. That's not to say that unattractive men can't pass on the genetics. They sometimes do, but more often than not, unattractive men have their genes mercilessly weeded out of the gene pool. Yeah, but no, this myth that men are more visual than women is just absolute rubbish. Men will date down. Men are flexible. Even a Chad will date down. If you know, yeah, and I've seen it happen. I've seen guys, no homo, they're pretty good looking dudes with women that are way below them on the look scale, and it's quite common to see that. I remember many years ago, and I was leaving the gym, and I saw these two Chads holding hands with. They were attractive women, but they were very overweight. And these were two Chads. So men will date down. And if you look at what goes on dating sites, as we know, dating sites are absolute sausage fests where men outnumber women by massive ratios. So men can't afford to be fussy. Also, too, us men, we have more testosterone than women, which makes us more hornier. We have a much stronger sex drive, so men will drop their standards if a Chad, for example, if there's no really attractive woman, and if he's got to get intimate with a say less than attractive woman or an overweight woman, he'll drop his standards, but women won't. You can also think of a lot of high-profile examples as well. I mean, many of you remember the late John Lennon from the Beatles. Now, given his immense status and wealth as a successful musician, he could have married the hottest trophy wife on planet Earth, but he chose to marry, I suppose you'd call an average-looking Japanese woman with Yoko Ono, his bandmate Paul McCartney. He could have married the hottest trophy wife on Earth, but he chose to marry Linda Eastman, who sadly passed away, I think of cancer. May she rest in peace. But once again, he could have married a really hot-looking woman, but he chose to marry a more average-looking woman. But he was happy until she sadly passed away. Brad Pitt, I mean, given his looks, he could have dated the hottest-looking woman. But I mean, the woman he has dated have been attractive. Excuse me. But he could have dated way hotter women given his looks. But men will date down. We're the less visual gender. Yes, we do value beauty and looks in a woman, absolutely. But men look for other things too. They look for in women their personalities, whether they can trust the woman, and whether the woman will respect them. A man would, he'd rather marry or date a woman who may not be that pretty, but as long as that woman respects him. And as a guy, you're better off doing that. You're better off marrying or dating a woman. She may not be the prettiest, but as long as she respects you, as long as you can trust her. To me, trust is probably the most important thing. You could be dating or married to the hottest woman on planet Earth, but if you can't trust her, or if she doesn't respect you, or she's got a bad personality, no, it's just not going to work. I mean, me personally, there've been women who I've met. I mean, I did not have a relationship with them, but their personalities start to grow on me. So when I look at a woman, I look at the whole package. Intelligence, Trustworthiness, that's important too. Obviously, she needs to be at least passably attractive, but she doesn't have to be a hot-looking Stacey. But then again, look at me, I'm sub 3. Beggars can't be choosers. But no, this idea that this myth or this outright lie that the PUA has put out that men go for looks more than women is exactly that. It's a lie. It's a massive lie, and it's a myth. I'm sorry, it is. Once again, yes, us men can be very visual, but we're flexible. Men will date down. Unfortunately, you don't really have much of a choice in that matter. Men will date down, and look at the wide range of body shapes and sizes that men like. Some men prefer a more athletic woman. Others prefer a bigger woman, like a BBW or a chubby woman. But there are no women who like fat men. Absolutely not. No. And look at those dating sites, the surveys done on dating sites like OkCupid and Tinder. On OkCupid, when the female members of that site were surveyed, they said they only found 20% of the men attractive, and with the remaining 80% being ugly or unattractive. On Tinder it was even worse. Women only rated the top 5% as being attractive, with the remaining 95% of men being ugly or unattractive. But if you really want to hear the raw truth on how women value looks more than men, listen to when women talk amongst themselves, also known as female locker talk. Yeah, and believe me, I've overheard some of this stuff, and some of my some inkwells that I've known, they've told me about female locker talk they've overheard when women are talking about men. And I kid you not, and may God strike me down now if I'm lying, but when women talk about men, it's all about looks. All about looks. I'll give you an example. Back in 1996, I was working in the admin area of life insurance and superannuation company, and we worked in different departments, and in between the departments there was like a partition, like a wall, so you couldn't see the other people. But I could overheard some of the ladies in another department talking about a new employee that just been hired, and they were talking about him, and all about his looks. Oh, you should see the new guy that's about to start soon. Oh, he's got beautiful eyes and nice hair, and he's tall. And that's all it was. That's all it was about. His looks. Nothing to do with his personality, his character, or anything like that. All about the looks. I remember a close inkwell friend of mine telling me about a story. He was visiting a brothel to see a lady the night, and the lady that he wanted to see was busy, so they put him in the waiting room, and he could overhear the women talk. Because what happened, a Chad had walked in. Like, he didn't see this Chad, but going by the way these women were talking, and the women that were talking were some of the hookers there and the female receptionist. And they're going, oh, look at this guy. What's he doing in here? He doesn't have to pay for sex. He's too good looking to pay for sex. So there you go. I mean, look, to be fair, when you interview some women, look, they're honest. I say, yes, it is about looks. Obviously, other women, they'll, excuse me, they'll lie and they'll virtue signal. Say, oh, no, it's about your personality and your confidence. Yeah, bullshit. End of the day, it's women's actions that count, not their words. Their words mean nothing. That's why female dating advice should never be taken seriously. Because what women say, as opposed to what they actually do, tend to be mutually exclusive. No. So, no, guys, men are not more visual than women. No, they're not. Absolutely not. Men will date down. Men are flexible. I mean, if a man's horny and the only available women are not so attractive women, he'll sleep with them. He doesn't care. And he'll even marry them if he really likes it, if she's got a really good personality and she can be trusted. Yeah. So that's all I have to say on the topic, guys. Oh, look, just if you look at the description below, I just want to. There's some really good books about dating and the BP. They're written by an author called Richard Wallace. I'm not sure if that's his real name, but Richard Wallace is the same gentleman. He runs he used to run the old Smash TV website, which I used to appear on many times. It was a great soul. They were actually live streams he used to have on the old Smash TV YouTube channel. He's got a new one now called Female Game. But in the description, yeah, I'll provide some links to some great books. They're about dating, relationships, women, and the BP. I've bought two of them. I've bought the 48 Laws of Dating and the Dating Circus. With the Dating Circus, I haven't finished that yet. I'm up to about page 70, but it's a great book. It really is. And yeah, so if you please check out these books. They're not very much money. I think they're about. I bought the e-book version, which I downloaded to my iPhone, and because they're a great read. You know, if you really want the raw truth on how male female intimate relationships work, please check these books out and buy them. They're very cheap. I think they're too cheap actually. You know, I hope Richard Wallace is making money out of these, but they're great books, so please check them out, and I will put them in the description below. Thank you guys for listening to my video. If you'd like to leave your likes, comment, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon. You guys have a great day. Bye for now.